This is an Ask Brothers production. Follow us on Twitter at The Ask Brothers. Get all our content on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify and SoundCloud at Ask Bros. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to smash that subscribe button.
Well, hey, welcome to an edition of Thursday Night Live and a podcast that's on the Ask Brothers, whatever. Sorry, I can't stop smiling. I've just watched Tottenham. Liam's joining me tonight. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. My eardrums have just burst because that's the first time we've played it. Whatever that intro is, it comes right through my eardrums. It's fucking loud.
Well, what can I say? Sorry, I'm in control of the buttons tonight. Look at the state of me. I stood in for Max on the Ask Brothers OG show earlier in the week with Toby. A really good hour-long chat we had about the Tottenham game. Really, really good. But somebody posted a comment while I was watching that. Doesn't Darren look smart in the mornings? Because I was all combed hair. I'd just come out the shower. Now this is it. This is nearly 9
the real
o'clock.
Darren.
This is me. Now I know why Max wears a hat on the morning shows. I really should have thought this one through. And I did leave us 45 minutes in between the end of the Arsenal game and the start of this podcast, because I thought that would give me enough time to go and have a shower, get ready, do some notes. But then when I see Spurs were drawing, the channel just went over to that. So
there's no other option, is there, really? Let's be honest.
As we've already got a comment in as DJ XU Bug 50. That's a tough one. Come on, look, at Deli Guna doesn't really represent me anymore, but at did you... Somebody can tell with that. He's just said those beautiful words. It's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham Hotspur. It's happened again. Sorry, Leo, I'm going to tell you a story. I know I will let you talk in a minute. I'm just buzzing. I mentioned this probably on some podcast somewhere down the line, but when I was living in India and I was part of the Arsenal Delhi Supporters Club, and we had a beautiful bar we used to go and watch football in. Really fabulous bar in a shopping centre, but they used to shut it for Arsenal, and you'd get anywhere between about 10 and 100 depending on the game would turn up and watch. And that game, it's got to be 4 seasons ago, it was the Leicester year, where I think we finished above Tottenham anyway. They were well ahead of us in the last game of the season. They lost 4 or 5-1 at Newcastle. We had a comfortable home win. And I taught these Indians, there was about 100 of us in the bar, and I taught them that song. It's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham at Hotspur. It's happened again. And we got barred. We never found a good bar for the last 2 years I was living in India. I feel really guilty about that because they kicked us out. But it's happened again.
I mean, it must be worth it to be able to sing a song like that. I mean, it does. You trade it. You just can't resist singing that. It's got to be worth it, though, right?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, those of you out there, I don't know who's listening tonight. I think everyone's just gone on the piss. Who wants to listen to a podcast live when you can just go and enjoy it? That's what I'm going to do very, very soon. This may be the shortest podcast in the history of podcasting because I just want to go and have a beer, celebrate. Liam, you're English, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're very young, but are you aware of the soap opera that's called Emmerdale?
I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my knowledge.
No. I mean, to be fair, I don't think I've ever watched an episode, but it's been running for hundreds of years. It's like Coronation Street and EastEnders, and
Yeah.
And one of my West Ham mates has been taking a piss out of us and Tottenham on our WhatsApp group, saying, "Oh, you're in the Emmerdale Farm Cup," because the West Ham are now up in the elite and they're World Cup winners and all that. And he posted a great comment. That's what made me watch the Tottenham game when it obviously had gone 2-0, because I saw a message come through, and he said it's all kicking off in the Woolpack, which was the pub in Emmerdale. I thought that was a great line. It's all kicking off in the Woolpack. Why Not Sentiment has joined us. You slags, Tottenham. That's the song as well. Sorry, I can't believe how happy I am at the... Oh, wait, you Arsenal fans out there, I don't know who's listening, but you Arsenal fans, and Liam, I hope you weren't one of them. I'm pretty sure you weren't one of them. But those of you that wanted Jose Mourinho to be manager of Arsenal Football Club. You weren't one of them, were you, mate?
No.
Oh, there was.
I was one of those that was That was one of those that was like, Emery is so bad, I'll consider most things at that point, but that's as far as it went.
As I've said many times, I think the very fact that the man I hate most in football, who argued with Wenger, who had the sign over us when he was manager of both Chelsea, Manchester United, he always seemed to beat us. Wenger had a terrible record against him. He's a man that I hate more than any other man in football. And when he goes to Tottenham, that is it. The Tottenham, and Mourinho mix is just. Oh, sorry, got to turn my phone off. The Tottenham Mourinho mix is like karma. It's just like karma. The worst thing in the world going to the worst team in the world, and it's just beautiful. And I'm just so worried that he's going to get sacked after this performance. I'm just so worried because the longer it lasts. And I love the commentator today said something like. Obviously, if they lose today and being 7th in the league table and out of the FA Cup, obviously they have got a big final to look forward to. A big final. We've been playing our kids in that competition for 20 years. Come on, big final.
Was it Jermaine Genius trying to find any slither of sunshine somewhere deep in that abyss that is Tottenham?
Maybe so. In fact, although our commentator, look, we do these things live, and I am a very amateur podcaster. I'm a very amateur broadcaster. I'm well aware of that. I'm well aware that I've said stupid things. I'm well aware that sometimes you lose track of what you're saying and you say stupid things. But I actually made a note today with the commentator in the Arsenal game, which I guess we'll get onto at some stage, said Arsenal getting caught with cold feet. And I thought, getting caught cold, I can get. I didn't get that comment at all. Getting caught with cold feet.
It's the UK. We are a British football club.
Getting caught with cold feet. I say you can get caught cold. And
Tierney must like that. Tierney must enjoy it.
What a boy he is at the moment. I still want to stay on Tottenham. Tottenham. Because we've just beaten them, and not just beaten them. I know it was a close game scoreline wise, and I know 10 minutes to go, we were fucking terrible, really, 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 really terrible. For 10 minutes we panicked, and how we got away with not letting one in that 10 minutes of football. But for 80 minutes we played Tottenham off the park, in every part of the pitch. We really did. We were better. We were stronger. We had more energy. We won every second ball. It was a fabulous, fabulous performance for 80 minutes. So they've just lost and been played off the park by a mid-table Arsenal side. And now they've just got lost 3-0 in the Europa League, in the Emmerdale Farm Cup. Go on, talk to me, Liam.
Whose coach, by the way, I've just been reading on Twitter, is in prison for fraud.
Yeah, that's right. They announced it. I heard that in the commentary. Yeah, he starts a prison sentence tomorrow.
You just can't write it, can you? There's not how just that's great podcasting, isn't it? I haven't had quite enough time to digest it. Apparently, all I can say is fucking here for it. I love it.
Yeah, really, honestly. So that's their season. They got the Carling Cup. Well, what's it called these days? The
League Cup. Carabao something.
Carabao. That's it. Carabao are the current sponsors. I've just mentioned that with our thousands and thousands of listeners. Carabao, send me whatever you do. What are they? An energy drink? I'm not sure.
Yeah, they're a really off-brand Asian energy drink. I tried them once. I managed to find it in some weird tiny corner shop in a very small village out in the middle of nowhere. When I lived in the UK, that is. I've never seen them over here.
I've just seen a lovely comment from Ruthless Gooner. Nice to see you, Ruthless. Jose should be in prison for being a fraud.
I thought it. I wasn't sure if I was going to say it.
Great comment. God, dear. Look at the state of my hair. Mind you, this does go as a podcast. Most people can't see me. I actually look beautiful. Well manicured.
Not a day over 80.
So, I've got to say, before the Tottenham thing happened, and I was in a real miserable mood because I just watched Arsenal. Did we lose in the end? I can't even remember. Was it 1-0?
Yeah, 1-0. 1-0, yeah.
That was 90 minutes of my life I'm really not ever going to get back. And I know it's a really, really difficult. I say really difficult. It's a mentally a tough situation to go into a game where you know that as long as you don't lose 3-0 or lose by 3 clear goals, you're going through. So I guess there's an element of stick or twist. What do we do? But God, we didn't know what to do, did we? And thankfully they were rubbish.
Yeah, I've got this saying that I mention it to my girlfriend all the time, is that you just never, ever can underestimate Arsenal's ability to make life so difficult for themselves. I guess, I mean, I've got all these thoughts going. I haven't quite digested, I guess, yet. But it's the thing that springs to mind is we're just not ruthless. I think all we've got to do is play our game, and when a chance comes, take it, get the first goal, and you really cruise the rest. Aubameyang was dreadful tonight. I don't want to go too in on individuals and whatnot. We're not that sort of podcast, as you like to mention every week. But it was.
I think you have to call a spade sometimes. You know, I mean, he was.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't add much to our team if he isn't scoring goals. And at least he's getting in the positions, you know, very good chance right towards the end. And, you know, the run that he made to get onto that chance that you're talking about that he missed, at least he's getting into those. He's just lacking a bit of confidence, I think, at the moment. But I would quite happily have had Lacazette in there, you know, and I thought that was a substitution when the game was going a bit away from us in the second half. Put somebody on who can at least try to hold the ball up. He's not the best in the world at doing it, but he's much better than Aubameyang.
Yeah, even just a focal point somewhere you know that you can just bounce off and work your way up through the pitch a little bit. I'm totally with you. I'd have brought Lacazette on probably at half time, to be honest. I think it was quite clear by half time Aubameyang's not in this game. It's not a game that's suited to him. Rest his legs, keep him for West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're going to talk about it. I just thought of something, Liam, that, you know, I mean, I'm so excited coming onto this pod. Those of you who are tuning in, listening out for the wonderful dulcet tones of Max. Max, of course, isn't here. Max is ever present. Max is always here. But Max has become a dad. I mean, Max has been allowed to procreate. Max, congratulations for everybody here at Thursday Night Live. Really, really pleased for you. Congratulations and all that sort of stuff. Responsibility, parenthood, adulthood.
What's that?
He's fucked. His life's gone. No, really, really, from all of us, really, really congratulations to you. He was actually hoping to jump on tonight. He said he'd tried to jump on, but obviously he's been up. He sent me that message at the equivalent of about 3 o'clock in the morning. So obviously he was up.
I think there's something in the house keeping him awake at night every Sunday.
Yeah. So let's go back to tonight. There was a few changes he made. You know, we've got pretty much everyone fit, I think, at the moment. Everyone's and we're playing well. I mean, we're fragile, aren't we? I think I've said it to you a couple of times now. People ask me, you know, Arsenal, are you that rubbish? Are you 10th in the table for a reason? You know, the first half of the season was terrible, you know, really, really terrible. And we struggled to score goals. We defended well, but we struggled to score goals. And that hasn't actually improved that much. But, I mean, since Christmas, the football that we're playing as a side, we can start to see what he's trying to do, Arteta. And at times we are fabulous to watch. And what I've been saying to people is we're good. And I think in 6 to 12 months, we're going to be very good, but we are so fragile. And I think that's the key. We've got a mistake in us. We've got a nervousness in us. So when you pick that team tonight, everyone's fit. You sort of think that we'll just continue to play the same sort of way, but it just didn't work tonight, did it? What did you make of that lineup? Elneny in for Partey, I guess. Ceballos in for Ødegaard. Bellerin in for Cedric and Aubameyang in for Lacazette. They were the 4 changes I think he made.
I wasn't worried about most of it. I mean, Elneny really wasn't worried about. I think that's the one a lot of people will question. But when you were right, it's like, what do you do when you're 3-0 up and you've just got to not lose by 3? Do you stick with your twist? And Elneny kind of isn't really either. So he's just the one that will keep things moving, and that's all you really need to do. So I was kind of glad to see Elneny in there, if anything. Ceballos was the interesting one because we've had our chats with Scunny, I think it was, about Ceballos. He had a shocker, frankly. You saw the difference night and day between him and when Ødegaard came on afterwards. It was night and day. So I didn't worry about it too much, bar the Ceballos thing pre-game, and that's kind of how it panned out as well in the end. Aubameyang struggled in the end, but as you rightly said, he gets in the spots. El Neni was fine, didn't do anything wrong. He was fine, nothing more, nothing less. Ceballos really struggled, but it was the only concern I had.
I'm going to have to. I've asked you this question, you and Max, more often than I care to. I'm an Arsenal fan. You know, I'm a very positive Arsenal fan. I want all of our players to do well, but it doesn't mean I don't find reasons to criticise. And please tell me what everyone sees in this £50 million Thomas Partey, because I still haven't seen anything that's making me think he's setting the world alight. He doesn't seem to want the ball. Today, he keeps pointing to other places for the players to put it to. When he came on, that's when we sort of collapsed. When El Neni was in that position, the goalkeeper could roll it out to him, and you know that El Neni will turn either way and keep possession. Partey lost the ball 2 or 3 times in really crucial areas where he's trying to play himself past people on the edge of the area. Tell me what. Look, and I am going to say again, I'm really, really hoping that Thomas Partey becomes a superstar for Arsenal Football Club. I really hope he does. But I still haven't seen any of it yet, really. A couple of good games in 12, 14. Poor tonight when he come on.
Yeah, he struggled tonight. I don't quite know what this is about the giving it away under pressure, because I had him down as a very press-resistant type central midfielder. When he plays well, the things that stand out to me is how effortless and easy he seems to make a lot of things. Sometimes it does go back, sometimes it goes sideways, but he goes forward and he drives it forward. It's with this purpose that we.
That's that. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that's what everyone keeps telling me. And when I watched him tonight, you want him to run with the ball when he's in the middle of the park. Not when you're on the edge of the area, when he was trying to beat players, but when he was in the middle of the park, his first action was to turn and play a short ball sideways. There's a real lack of confidence, it feels to me, in him at the moment. And yet he's come from 4 years playing under Diego Simeone. You would think he's a £50 million player. You would think that he is at the top of his game. We've bought a player at the prime part of his life where he should be flying, and yet he just doesn't seem to fit at the moment. This is your birthday, by the way, Liam.
It is indeed.
Happy birthday. I didn't know that.
Thank
Blimey.
you.
And you're doing a bloody podcast on your birthday with your wife, with your girlfriend in the same room.
Yeah, I've got a cat there, literally there, asleep, as well, just to make matters fun. So when he wakes up, I'm sure he'll want to try and say hello. So Arsenal, I like. I haven't got much. I've had a day at work as well. Tomorrow I've got a nice day off where I can chill and just do things. So tomorrow's the celebration, so to speak.
See, I'm throwing you off now, no, because I'm throwing from
yeah,
one
you're
thing
just
to
trying
another.
to. Yeah,
I was talking about how bad Thomas Partey is.
Well, yeah, I mean tonight he wasn't great, of course. He gave the ball away very cheaply, which I never had him down as the sort of player that does that. It's a bit strange. I wonder how full fit he is. How fully fit, I should say. That was good English. Because at the end, I thought he was excellent against Spurs. And I think one of the things that stands out to me.
Let me just hold you there. Excellent against Spurs.
Last 10 minutes.
It was
awful.
Last 10 minutes.
It was awful the last 10.
You want a £50 million defensive midfielder who we have got so much faith in. When he puts that ball behind for a corner from 40 yards.
Yeah. I get it. And I know you're saying because he's a £50 million player that we bought.
That's
in the prime age, so to speak. So I know you're expecting it, but it's not like he was the only one in that team. It was dreadful against Spurs. For 80 minutes, he was excellent, and I think he flagged as he lost fitness. I think he lost just that extra seconds that he uses to skip, and he does this very Wilshere thing in a different way. But the Wilshere had this tendency to make you think like it's in the spot where you can get it, and Partey and Wilshere would just take it away. Like they sort of give you the sniff, and then gone. He's past you before you've known it. That's his trick. That's his number one skill. And he does it in very few amount of touches, whereas Xhaka and Ceballos take a long time to do a lot of the things that they try to do. Partey does it much quicker. And sometimes he loses the ball doing it because he's taking a risk and he's taking riskier passes when he does the forward movements. But I like the way he does it quickly. It's the speed of thought that he's trying to do it at. And he just is this real knack for making you think you've got it and then take it away from you. And as soon as he does it, the opponent's out of the game, and he does it brilliantly. That's what I love about him.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I've been told. I just haven't seen that much of it. I mean, don't get me wrong, he has had one or two good games, but if you watched Arsenal, if you were from outer space and you were told to watch Arsenal, I would say that Xhaka has been our, forget tonight, I thought Xhaka was hopeless tonight, but Xhaka for the last 2 months has been our best player. You know, I mean, consistently in everything he's done. He's been a leader on the pitch. His pass completion percentage is huge compared to what it was. His forward passing is good. And what did people say? Well, it's because he's playing alongside Partey. That's why Xhaka's suddenly gone better. Then Partey gets injured. Xhaka continues. Whoever he's alongside, whether it be Ceballos or El Neni, Xhaka's been really consistently good. And yet, if I say that now, Xhaka has been our best player for the last 2 months, you get loads of abuse to say Xhaka's useless. And yet Partey's fabulous. You just got to watch these games, and it's just frightening for me that we just suddenly decide that this player is the best in the world, this player is the worst, when the evidence of your eyes should be able to tell you something different.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the best of Partey yet. I really don't. I've seen enough to tell me he's a fantastic player and our best central midfielder. As far as I'm concerned, he's our best central midfielder. Isn't form-wise, maybe not, but I think he's the best central midfielder at the club comfortably.
Based on what? Based on what? Based on what?
How well he moves that ball. I think the mistakes he's made that seem are very obvious mistakes, and that really paints a picture that's difficult to see him in such a good light. I think of Busquets in the same way, in that Busquets was very quietly brilliant. I can't remember who did. Was it Pep Guardiola who said, if you watch a game of football, you don't notice Busquets. If you watch Busquets, you see the whole game of football. And Partey sort of resembles that for me. When I watch Partey and I watch only Partey, he does some wonderful stuff. He really, really does. He's fabulous the way he just takes that ball away from you. The way he's got such a variety of pass. He can whip over the top, float, or sort of that sort of flat ping, a diagonal. He's got a lot in his locker and he can do it. And I just don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
Right. I mean, don't get me wrong. As I said at the very start, I really hope I see it. I really, really hope I see it. It's just that I've seen little flashes of it, but consistently he looks off the pace of the Premier League. He doesn't look like he's got to that pace of our game. And, you know, he's only been here a short period of time and he's had a lot of that time out injured. So I'll always give him a season to get used to it. We're in March. You know, it's middle of March. The season's nearly over. He's been with us a season. And you would think by now there would be some consistency in his play. The other one that worries me, and I love him, and the clearance off the line or from Kane's shot against Tottenham is Gabriel. Gabriel just looks a nervous. He looks like Kolasinac for me on the ball. You know, he's just panics. You know, and I watched tonight's game with a Chelsea fan, and he said. He said, "Oh, is that Kolasinac? Koscielny, not Koscielny, who played Socrates, who played for. Is that Socrates who played for you?" And I said, "Yeah, he's pretty good." And I liked Socrates. He said, "Why did Arteta get rid of him?" And I said, "Well, I don't know, but I would guess that we had 8 centre halves, 9 centre halves in the club, and he's an old dog. You know, you can't teach him how you want to play. He plays in a certain fashion, and he seems to have gone with, you know, the younger Mari Holding." To play alongside Luiz. He's kept Luiz with his experience and his talent. But when I see Gabriel panic, like again against Tottenham last 10 minutes, that one that he just hit 40 yards up in the air in the penalty area. But is there any sense of fear from you that Gabriel's not going to be as good as we hoped he would be? I mean, I love the fact he's a big, strong lump because we needed one of those.
Yeah, I think on the ball, I do worry a little bit because I thought he was better on the ball than what I've seen of him at Arsenal. I'm totally with you. I also don't think he's quite got a proper partner yet because he does like to squeeze the pitch and he likes to win and nick it off a striker on the halfway line. Whereas Luiz, Holding, and Well, Murray does it as well, but in a different way. Does it with Gabriel, what Gabriel does on the halfway line in a different way. But they tend to like to back off and sit deep and defend deep. And I don't think Gabriel does. So it's this clash of style. And because we've got more of the sitting deep defenders, it makes Gabriel stand out in not quite so good a way. I don't worry I worry about the passing now because I don't trust him on the ball, but I also think it's a technical thing that can be coached. He's younger than I am. He's 22. So I don't worry in the long term about his passing ability. I think if he gets a partner that will also like to squeeze the pitch, likes to get up and nick the ball before you've even got it, I think we'll start to see Gabriel in a much better light as well. Because I think he's got the attributes. I think he's really very good.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of things about being a central. Excuse me, lots of things about being a central defender that he's very good at. You know, I mean, that clearance again against Tottenham, he's going to go down in my Arsenal folklore just because of that. But you know, but surely by the age of 22, when you know you've got to be either technically good or not, and the fact that Arteta has, without doubt, tried to build a side that wants to play out from the back. And then he's, you know, they've spent this money and bought a player who doesn't look comfortable receiving the ball from the goalkeeper. You know,
yeah, he looks a bit gangly. Is kind of the word I'd use to describe it.
Well, you know how Kolasinac used to look very like a two-dimensional player, very square. You know, when he was at left back. You know, when he seemed to be very one-footed and turned a bit like a
charge, and that was,
It's a big lump. And that's the sort of thing I see with Gabriel. He plays the way he's facing because he doesn't have that technical ability to be able to take the ball. Now, look, playing as a central defender, you've got lots of different things that you need to have to become a good player. And he's, you know, good in the air. He's very solid, but he just frightens me to death when we're playing out from the back.
Yeah. I worry about it as well. And you're right. Technically, you'd think he would be somewhat there by now, but it's also coachable. It's not one of those things like you can't teach someone how to be smart and use intuition. You can coach that sort of stuff still. So I don't worry about it.
I've still got a chance to play centre forward for Arsenal then, do you think? Do you think it's too
Who
late
knows?
for me?
I mean, the rate we're scoring goals, maybe.
I always thought I could. I used to always say, up until I was about 45, I'd say I'll get 20 for this. Watching the Invincibles team, I could have scored 20 goals a season in that side. Honestly, they were that good, and I could have. At 45, well overweight, old, I still could have scored in that team. What did you make of the decision to drop the captain before the game on Sunday?
It's on Aubameyang, as far as I'm concerned. It's if you're late, you've got to be punished. It doesn't matter who you are, and if you don't get punished for it, what sort of message does it send out to the likes of Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Saka, who did start, all under the age of 22, I think, 22 and younger. So what sort of message does it send to these three guys who are hungry to start when they think they can get away with turning up late and just being a bit lazy, bit too casual? I don't think Arteta had a lot of choice, and he had to drop him. Doesn't matter who you are, and that's on Aubameyang.
The ironic thing is he's got a whole garage full of supercars, hasn't he? He's a real petrol.
Shouldn't take him long, should it?
But he's a real petrol head, isn't he? I mean, he's apparently not just got one Lamborghini, he's got 5. Do you know, he's
all gold wrapped. And
yeah. You think with those sort of cars he could get to the ground on time. I mean, I tend to agree. I think it obviously wasn't a first offence. You know, it's obviously something that's happened more than once. And as I said to Toby when we did the show on Monday, I sort of feel like Aubameyang, you know, he frightens me as captain. I've said it to you. You know, it frightens me that he's the best. You know, because he doesn't appear to be a leader. That comment I made earlier in the season when he was laughing and joking with the Manchester City players just after we'd lost. You know, that's not to me somebody who's hard. And he's got disciplinary issues at the last couple of clubs he's been at as well, I think, isn't he?
I think so. At Dortmund it was reported, wasn't it? And there's a couple coming through. He hasn't really seen it at Arsenal, those disciplinary issues, but there's a few starting to trickle through, it does seem like.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and everyone's human, you know, he's got the right to, you know, we've all been late. You know, tell me a time when you haven't been late. But I guess when you're playing Tottenham and the manager says, right, be here at 12, you should be there.
You're
at
there
12,
at 12.
you know?
Yeah. You don't. Yeah. I don't like the people. I've seen some people blame Arteta. Go, how can you leave him out for North London Derby, whatever he did? But you can't blame Arteta for Aubameyang doing the wrong thing. I can't wrap my head around that. If you've done something wrong and you're punished for it, rightly punished for it, how can you blame the person giving out the punishment? That doesn't sit right with me. It's on Aubameyang fully, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, we just haven't got any great people in that squad really to take over as captain, have we? I mean, we're stuck with Aubameyang now.
Yeah, I mean, tonight was hardly a leader's performance because tonight was kind of one of those games where you needed somebody to stand up and go, lads, ain't good enough. We've got to respect the game, and we've got to up it. But now you've said it, the more I'm seeing it, and it's annoying, but I can't help but see it now.
At least I thought his attitude was good tonight. He worked hard for 45 minutes. He wasn't, he wasn't terrible. It wasn't a very good performance, was it? It wasn't a performance that led to lots of chances. It was as I said at the very start, we didn't know whether to stick or twist. Do you go out all gung ho and do what Tottenham did, and suddenly you get knocked out of the competition because you go too outrageously attacking to try and kill the game off? If we had got caught like we did at exactly the same time of the year against exactly the same side last season, there was that fear factor. But when that goal went in, one more goal and then it's back to that last 10 minutes at Tottenham, isn't it? And we could have found ourselves going out.
If he scores that little flick near the end from Martinelli's cross, I mean, suddenly he comes out looking better than he does tonight, doesn't he?
That's a lovely segue because I wanted to mention Martinelli. I don't know what Arteta he's done to upset Mikel, but he hasn't seen any football at all, has he? I mean, it's a
shame. I love him. I think I speak for every Arsenal fan when I say I can't stop watching this kid. He's so good.
Yeah, it's just strange, isn't it? Because he's not got a look in when Willian has played quite a lot and Pepe's played a lot through bad form. Pepe's come back into it a bit recently, but didn't play well for the first 6 months of the season. Willian was hopeless. And I know Martinelli was carrying an injury through a large part of that. But when you see him tonight come on, I was watching it with a Chelsea fan, and I said, don't you remember Martinelli from the Chelsea game last year? And he went, oh, yeah, that kid, yeah, but he's only a squad player, isn't he? I said, well, he scored about 11 in 10 games, in his run in the side last year. And when
some good goals.
Nketiah's gone off completely, isn't he? And Nketiah doesn't feature at all anymore for Arsenal.
I played for the under-23s the other day.
Yeah, Aubameyang and Lacazette are struggling to score goals. It just seems strange to me there hasn't been any chance for Martinelli to take that centre forward because, we have got lots of choices on the left. Emil Smith-Rowe's been excellent in that position. Saka's been excellent on the right. And Martinelli, I think his preferred position is down the centre or drifting to the left. So almost a like for Aubameyang, and yet just hasn't got any football at all. Not sure why Mikel doesn't like him.
No, nor me. I don't quite know what it is. I'm not sure if I'm not willing to say yet that it's a case of Mikel doesn't like him because I know he signed a long-term contract, at the same time that Saka did, or around the same time. I think it might have even been the same day. So that tells me you're looking at him not necessarily in the same light as Saka, but you're seeing those two players as your long-term future. And Mikel, we know, is heavily involved in that sort of stuff. So I'm not willing to go to as far as saying that there's something that Mikel doesn't like in him. I think it is more that the Aubameyang thing is him and Martinelli are like for like, just as you said. Because I think he can play from the left. I like him as a centre forward because he's actually quite good in the air. He scored a couple of really good headers for us. And I wonder if Arteta struggles to see how he can get, whatever we just said about the captaincy, his captain into the team, along with a player that's nearly the same in Martinelli, but a bit less well-rounded in some aspects, in that he's a bit loose and a bit scruffy, I guess.
Yeah, but he's taken that chance, and maybe it was just one too many with Saka and Emil Smith Rowe. They're ever presence now. They're first choice players. You would expect when you look at our first 11 that go down on paper now, you would imagine Saka and Smith Rowe are in that side. But Martinelli didn't even make the bench against Tottenham.
That was a surprise. I thought he was being left out mostly because do you remember he also got injured against, I can't remember who it was, but in the warm-up, he had to withdraw through injury.
Right. Yeah.
And there was a really good video by an Arsenal fan who's a qualified doctor and all sorts, and he did a piece that said, well, obviously I'm not there to assess him specifically, but from what I've seen, this could be explanations of the injury, and that's why it's taken time. And that had a merit for a while, but then it kept going on a bit too long. And it was a bit, and yeah, I couldn't quite put my finger on what it is, but I think it largely is that he sees him and Aubameyang as like for like. And if you're going to pick one or the other, you're probably going to pick the guy that scored you 22 goals in the last 2 seasons as your captain.
And the guy who's on £300,000 a week or whatever, you know.
Yeah, that too. I think, I do think Aubameyang's probably the short term and Martinelli is the long term. I do hope Martinelli gets more minutes though, because I love watching him play so much.
Well, the issue is if he doesn't, even under contract, that doesn't stop someone coming in. If a player wants to leave the football club, whether they're under contract or not, if he doesn't, if we don't see him, or if we see the same amount of him, as we've seen so far this season, at the end of this season, he's going to want to play football, And do we really want to send a player with that much quality out on loan? Probably not. Loan deals worked, I thought, really well. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, where did he go? West Brom, where he's playing in his preferred position. Have you seen much of him play?
No, I haven't. I've not heard that he's done. I've heard that he's not really doing that well, though. I haven't seen him. But
should have taken that 20 million from Wolves when it was offered, shouldn't we? That was
probably.
And the other one that's done out on loan that's doing very well is Joe Willock at Newcastle. They love him by all accounts. He's turned into a bit of a star and a bit of a cult hero up there. Yeah,
he scored a goal on his debut, didn't he? I think.
I just think they like. I mean, he's a quality player, Willock.
I like him a lot. I like him more than most Arsenal fans, and I think he gets a lot of stick for his defensive game, and I actually think I give him a bit more credit for that side as well. And I've seen highlights of him at Newcastle, and he looks very impressive. Now, whether he can replicate that for us in the way that Mikel plays, don't know.
Yeah,
but
I think
at least I was just going to say as well, at least even if we don't see him for us, at least it's going to boost his value and we get more now than we would have if we hadn't bothered sending him out on loan.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mikel has looked at that number 10 position and has wanted an upgrade, which is why he's gone for Ødegaard, because he wants that. It's very important to the way that we play football that we have a really good number 10. And I think he's tried Willock there, didn't he? He tried Smith Rowe there, who did very well. But Ødegaard has made a real difference, hasn't he? And this is where I'm talking about and it's not criticism of Thomas Partey. It's just a little bit disappointing that he's not become as good as we hoped he would be in the time that he's been at the club. But Ødegaard's the other way round. Started relatively slowly, but week by week he's becoming far more influential in our team and the way that we play football. Everything good seems to come from him. It's like having a young Mesut Ozil back, almost, if I can say those words on this podcast. But
he who shall not be named.
Well, it does feel a bit like that, doesn't it, to you? That he's got that vision to go. He can drift past players really easily. That skill that Ozil had, that just drop of a shoulder, but he's also got an eye for goal, which Ozil never really had. Ozil was a creator first and foremost. Although he did score some goals, he was, some fabulous goals as well. But he was first and foremost a creator. Whereas Ødegaard seems to be able to. He reminds me very much of a Wenger-style footballer, where if the team's in a better position, he makes the right choice. And I don't want to go overboard on Ødegaard because he had a really poor game 2 games ago, I think, but against Tottenham, and again when he came on tonight, he just turned the game, did he not?
Yeah, it's night and day, and it really I felt like he was the difference maker. Where I was saying about Aubameyang, I don't think he led the team particularly well. So I've got a cat trying to fall in front of the camera for those watching live. where was I? Odegaard or Aubameyang. So where
Earlier.
Aubameyang for me didn't sort of drag the team through the mud, so to speak. Like he did his thing and he didn't play particularly well. I felt like Odegaard was saying, "Give me, I'm taking this, and I'm going to drag us through this, whether you come kicking or screaming." And I really liked that, as well as he does the things that we've seen from him already. It's just a bit of a shame he's absolutely allergic to shooting if it's within 30 yards of the goal.
Yeah. And
He had a
that's the
good
thing.
chance, but
I mean, Erdegaard, back on him, is that I sort of also very concerned that he's becoming one of our best players and he's not ours. Do you know what I mean? The better he plays, the less likely Real Madrid are going to want to sell him, or the more money it's going to cost, which we don't really have. It feels strange as an Arsenal fan with a top club like Arsenal having players
yeah,
on loan.
here's the cat. Sorry.
See, Max, if you're listening, we can't get Liam to have an whole episode without bringing pussy into it.
I knew if it was going to come on the screen, that was going to happen. So sorry, I've just ignored you for about a minute or so there. So what were you saying?
I don't know.
So I think you were saying, sorry, Odegaard was the better he plays, the less likely we're going to get him, right?
Yeah, I'm just, it's a fearful for me that a club the size of Arsenal Football Club have players on loan. I mean, it's a new thing for me. Ceballos, Erdegaard. We're the size of club that we put our players out on loan. So it feels very strange to me, as somebody who's been watching the club for decades, that we actually are loaning players in, and we're loaning top players in off of clubs that we're not as good as anymore. You know, Real Madrid's, we were really on a level playing field with those maybe 10, 15 years ago, and now we're loaning their offcasts. You know, they're outcasts. Can you say offcasts? Outcasts. So it just frightens me that we've got a player that, you know, is looking like he could finish the season being our best player, and then he goes back to his home club. It's just a worrying situation for me, because then we've got to start again.
Yeah, do you know how long he's got on his Real Madrid contract by the
Years.
summer? Because oh, has he? I'm trying to think of where we can sort of use, I don't know, a contractual situation to our advantage. I think we do seem to be leaning into him as much as he's leaning into us. So give him a lot of game time quite early on. And I wonder if that makes him feel quite good, in the sense of, stupid cat. I wonder if that helps in the sense of, like, because you see players try to force moves quite semi-frequently these days, don't you? And I just wonder if maybe that can try to work in our favour somehow.
Possibly.
I'd love it
yeah.
if we can. We don't. The Zidane situation might be interesting, because I wonder if they'll end up with a binary choice of Zidane or Odegaard, and I feel like Real Madrid might pick Zidane, which might work.
Possibly. I mean, it's one to watch. Obviously, it really is, because it's a difficult situation. But I think he signed a long-term contract not long before he came to us, because obviously he's been at the club for 5 years and been out on loan for 4 of them. So he's played, I think 9 times for Real Madrid. So he's got to love getting first team football. He's got to love it. And if he falls in love with Arsenal, it's a pity the crowd aren't there, because the crowd would make a difference. You know, we haven't had an opportunity for the crowd to sing his name. You know, I mean, he's been a bit part player at Real Madrid, but he could become a hero at Arsenal, and that might be the difference between him signing or not. But we're not there. I mean, I'm missing that more than ever at the moment. Just not going to football every other week, and getting sick and tired of watching football on television. You know, I guess for people all over the world, that's how you do it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm also more used to it than you are, but it's one of those soft factors that I guess could also help if you can. How much he sees it from the fans on social media, I don't know, but you can really feel it when you're there and playing in front of the crowd. And I feel like if we're going to try and keep him, it's going to have to be all those little things that we do, and every little thing that we try to keep him on our side is really going to help us. And we've got to try everything that we can if we're to have a chance. And I sincerely hope we do. The rate he's going at, I really hope we can pull it off.
All right, one question. It's not much more to talk about. The game was terrible tonight. I'm still buzzing over Tottenham losing. Still buzzing over that. That's going to keep me going all night. But I really want to go and have a beer. If you could, would you sell at the end of the season both Lacazette and Aubameyang to raise funds to buy a world-class striker that would fit more into the style of which Mikel Arteta is trying to get us to play?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know it's a good question.
Because I know Lacazette, 100% you would.
Yeah, but
That's
Lacazette
the
doesn't
easy
change
bit.
anything.
But
the issue is with that, I mean, look, and I did put some thought into this because I'm a big fan of Lacazette. I don't think he's been particularly good this year, but he works and he gives us a different way of playing. So he holds the ball up a little bit better, than Aubameyang. His scoring touch is terrible at the moment. I don't think he's had a particularly good season, but I like his effort. I like his work rate. Aubameyang's been a bit part player. He was terrible for the first 3-4 months of the season. He's back on form, but still missing chance after chance. I don't know if we'll ever be able to sell Aubameyang because of the wages, but if we could sell them, we are putting in, interestingly, against Tottenham, we put in 26 crosses and dominated the game. In the reverse fixture at the start of the year when we lost 2-0, we put in 32 crosses and everyone said, oh, why would we just keep trying to put crosses in and Tottenham are rubbish? Tottenham are good at crosses and we can't put good crosses in, and what's the point? Well, we played exactly the same. Mikel Arteta's game plan was exactly the same. Go down the wings, put crosses in, and eventually we scored, we scored goals, we created pressure, we created mistakes. But none of those strikers really fit into the pullbacks. Lacazette either jumps over them, miskicks them. Aubameyang, really, Aubameyang's very one-footed. So if they come in from the left-hand side where Tierney's putting all these crosses, Aubameyang doesn't look natural. It's a real fear for me that those two are really good strikers. So if we could get 80 million for the two of them, that would give us some money to buy someone.
Yeah, I think it then begs the question is, will we also have enough? Because if you sell just Lacazette or just Aubameyang and you buy one very good striker, at least you do have options still. If one's out of form, you can bring another in and hope they do better. Whether they do or not is another question. But if you lose both of them and you bring in a good, a potentially elite or a very good striker, if he gets injured or he doesn't pan out the way we expect, who do we fall back on? Because Martinelli's not been the one to. Yeah. But I'm saying, is he the one to start at centre forward? Because I don't know if he's going to start at centre forward or if he's going to start at left wing. That's the question.
Yeah,
right?
But this is the issue, because if you just sell one of Lacazette or Aubameyang, then is an elite. We only play one up front, so would you be able to attract an elite forward to our football club when Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is still at the club? Probably not, because he may not.
Potentially, because he's only going to have 2 years left on his contract. So you could see, if you're buying a striker with the vision that he's, I don't know, let's say he's 22, 23, 24 years old, you're going to be a striker for the next 5-6 years at this football club, and Aubameyang's only got 2 years left. There's a long-term future for him at the club. He's got time to settle in, share minutes while he's learning the Premier League, whoever he is. You could make an argument that there's a future for him.
Yeah, maybe. Last week to finish off, obviously I'm not very, although I'm on Twitter, I don't, I said this on Monday, I looked at Twitter because my name come up on something, and I saw that there was a message from Scunny, who we did the podcast with a couple of weeks ago, asking if I'd like to be a guest on whatever one it was, Friday Ask Rant or whatever. And I didn't even see that. It was the 26th of February. I only saw it a couple of days ago. So I'm not very good on Twitter. So tell me, sum up, I haven't spoken to you for 2 weeks, what's been happening in the Arsenal world in social media? Who do we like? Who do we hate? What was the Tottenham reaction? Are we positive?
Don't know, because I think so. It's hard for me to tell, because I've mentioned enough times I'm autistic. I ain't got a fucking clue how somebody's feeling when they're face to face in front of me, let alone behind the screen. I generally think it is positive. I think that most of the post-Tottenham debate was laughing at Jermaine Genius, laughing at Tottenham generally, and debating whether it was or wasn't a penalty.
What was your view
on that
penalty?
Yeah, Stonewall.
Really?
Yeah. There's two. I don't want to get too much into it. I'm sure everyone's heard the debate. There are two factors that make it potentially not a penalty. One, who kicks who? Does Lacazette kick Sanchez? And I think, yeah, okay, Lacazette might make a movement towards Sanchez, but Sanchez equally makes a movement towards Lacazette. Whatever his intention, he still makes a move towards Lacazette and connects with him. And I also don't really care where the ball is, because that's never been in the rules ever. I just don't think they're enough of an argument. So
yeah, I certainly wouldn't call it stonewall. I guess where my feeling was that if it had happened anywhere else on the pitch, it was a free kick.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I mean, the guy's is a bit reckless jumping in. But B, if it had been given against us, I'd have been livid. And
I'd be livid at our player, whoever made the challenge, more than I'd be livid at the referee. I mean, I can say that now we've got the penalty. I know I can, and maybe that's just the benefit of us actually winning the penalty. But I really think I'd be moaning more at, I don't know, especially if it's Louise or someone who's made mistakes before, right? I'd be moaning more at him than the referee, I think.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's just one of those that we all sort of feel it was a penalty because we were absolutely due a good decision. Don't you feel that? We were absolutely just due one good decision.
Yeah, definitely. It swings and roundabouts. It was karma, I guess, in some ways, because Tottenham fuck them, and us thank fuck something went for us. But another thing went in. Well, I mean, I think it was the right decision, but another thing went our way later in the game with a red card. And for fuck's sakes, don't we half make a job of that? I mean, it's past now. With the results happen, everyone's discussed it, but bloody hell.
And how did Harry Kane not get penalised for his assault on?
He's a disgusting player. I absolutely vehemently hate him.
That brings this nasty round and a beautiful way to finish. Let's just have a few more minutes just to laugh at Tottenham.
I do have a quick question for you, actually, before we finish. Quick question.
Why are you gone off video, by the way?
Because I've got cats running around the table everywhere. Yeah, just a quick question. I wanted to ask you. What do you think of Tottenham?
Shit.
All right. Also, just what do you think of shit?
Tottenham.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's all right. Come on, you Arsenal. It's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham Hotspur. It's happened again.
This is an Ask Brothers production. Follow us on Twitter at The Ask Brothers. Get all our content on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify and SoundCloud at Ask Bros. And if you like what you hear, don't forget to smash that subscribe button.